Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show for this the NXT Ring Report. As you see right here, Eddy Thrope takes on Damon Kemp in an NXT Underground matchup. We know Eddy Thrope and Damon Kemp had their problems, but now they take it and sell the differences in NXT Underground version of Raw Underground a couple years with Gable Stevenson as a support system for Eddy Thrope. If you want to know how, we'll talk about that a little later. Plus two, which one of these two tag teams from NXT will be leaving NXT for good? Will it be the Creed brothers or Dyad? Like they said, loser must leave NXT. We'll talk about it coming up. Which one of those two teams leaving? Plus, what's next for Braun Breaker? Will Braun Breaker come out the heels of being close and winning the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins? Braun Breaker, what's next for him? Also, too, on the 4th of July edition of NXT, Roxanne Perez takes aim to end Blair Davenport reign of terror. Blair Davenport coming back as one of those little pre-shows or whatever you want to call it, hackers or something. Plus, you want Mustafa Ali to take on Tyler Blake. Which one of these two will merge to meet, Wesley and for the North American Championship? All this and more on the Pro Wrestling Show start right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Ken Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Here for the NXT Ring Report. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. All right. We're going to get to it right now here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Right now, with what happened in NXT tonight. Let's get to it right now here with highlights and recaps. All right, on the NXT Ring Report, we're going to kick things off with this. Blair Davenport made her return. She's been that hacker all since. He's been hacking around. But Blair came out of nowhere. She had her first battle with Roxanne Perez, and Blair Davenport came back with a vengeance. Blair Davenport wants to know who she has to go through. She went through former NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. Roxanne tried to give a fight. As you see right here, Blair and Roxanne on top of the turnbuckle. Looked like Blair was going to do a belly back suplex. But Roxanne Perez countered with a maneuver like a sunset flip roll up. But Blair capitalized on that. You see right here, Blair tried to hit every move she can make. Even Roxanne was going to do the sunset flip. That wasn't to no effect right there. You see Blair with the Falcon Arrow to Roxanne Perez. That wasn't nothing. Blair hit her knee strike to get the win over Roxanne Perez. So Blair Davenport win over Roxanne Perez. He'll be a threat to NXT Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton down the road. Well, you might know who this familiar face is, this Hand. We know that he wants to go undo some changes. Well, we know that Baron Corbin has been going through changes. He was the lone wolf, the constable, the king, you name it. He was trying Lucky Corbin. He's been trying to go through a lot of changes as a lady. Well, we kind of figure out what the changes are. And you see right here, he said he's going to do under construction. So we just have to wait and see. You see Baron Corbin with the crown. He threw the crown in the oven and threw something else in the oven. So he's looking for a renaissance and a career change somewhere down the road. He's sick and tired of doing gimmicks. So we'll have to wait and see how this is going to play out. Sorry, excuse me. Speaking of that, Tyler Bate was in action. He took on Mustafa Ali in a match. Tyler Bate and Mustafa Ali now. Setting up Tyler Bate with an ankle lock. Shades of Kurt Angle. Mustafa Ali and Tyler Bate both jockeying position to be who wants to take on Wesley for the North American Championship You see right here, Mustafa Ali trying to lock a STFU onto Tyler Blake. That didn't work. Tyler Blake tried to get another shot. You see here both men trying to knock each other out. Then Mustafa Ali hit him with Tyler Blake hit him with Mustafa Ali with that maneuver, that dive in attack. But Mustafa Ali hit a 450 splash. Mustafa Ali hit the 450 splash to get the win. And Mustafa Ali advances. He will meet at the Great American Bash Wesley for the North American Championship. We'll see how that's going to play out eventually between these two men and what Tyler Blake will have to say about that. Ali is a shot for the championship down the road. Well, we know tonight the Rock's daughter, Ava something, and Joe Gacy talked about the implications of what tonight's match could be for their team. If the Dyad doesn't win, they're out of NXT. I think they were just trying to send it home with that and trying to re up what they're going to do tonight. But later on, we're going to see tonight that the Creed brothers taking on the Dyad. Which one of these two teams will merge as staying in NXT, or one of them will be leaving NXT sooner rather than you think. Well, we know that I saw this lady. I don't know who she is, but she was on TV tonight. She got the support. I think Dana Brooke or something like that. And I think Cora J was out there, and they had a match. She beat Cora J tonight, so I guess Cora J they had no shelling tonight. Well, we know the attitude of Andrew Chase. He's back in Chase University. Yeah, showing a new mean aggression. I don't know what's going on with that, but looks like he's going to be back in action sooner rather than later. Well, it was time for the NXT Underground match. Man, you know NXT Underground is shades of Raw Underground. Eddie Thrope with Gable Stevenson in his corner. I thought it was going to be a turn or something. That didn't be the case tonight. Well, we saw Damon Kemp in the ring. Everyone surrounding the ring. It was no holds bar, just like MIA dojo fighting style. And that's what it was, a dojo fighting style. Gable Stevenson in the corner of Eddie Kemp. Gable was watching as a coach and kept on coaching. Well, we told you this was the coach. See right here, Gable taunting Kemp. You can tell they're real life brothers, but many of you may not notice that. Well, this was amazing right here that we saw earlier, where Damian Kemp delivered a belly bell suplex and took Eddie Thorpe outside the ring. Thorpe was kind of limping and kind of feeling the after effects, but Eddie Thorpe found the way to win. He made Damian Kemp submit with that choke and then the knee strike. Damian Kemp won. Eddie Thorpe won his match, but Gable Stevenson came out of nowhere and delivered like suplex after suplex. It was like I seen Eddie Kemp did deserve. Eddie Thorpe did a German suplex as well. Damien as well, but Gable did a belly bell suplex. They're pushing Gable, but I can tell you have to wonder that Gable Stevenson is gonna eventually turn on Eddie Thorpe sooner rather than later. Gonna be a ruse. Speaking of ruses, we saw this. We saw this. Tony D'Angelo getting betrayed by Stacks and the dude from Gallus. Well, the dude from Gallus and Stack will meet next week 1-on-1 for um, Tony D'Angelo's freedom. D'Angelo then wasn't keen in what was going on, but D'Angelo's a little pissed being in prison, not knowing the details and what was going on happening. Also, too, this happened. Live Card took on JC Jane, defeated her with a kick. So you know how that went. Also, too, Noam Dar getting away from the cup. He feel like the cup was his life, and the cup wasn't his life. So hey, how that be? Big on that, Kiana James being tricked by Gigi Dolan. Kiana James being tricked by Gigi Dolan to never outrun. You can't never outrun your past. I don't know what that going down. Only time will tell on that what's going on with that. Speaking of that, Von Wagner power bomb jumping up and down to the announcer table. He's still trying to figure out what he wants to do in life, so only time will tell on that how that's going to go far. Well, we told you this. This was the semi-main event. The Creed brothers in action. The Creeds, could they stay in NXT? The former NXT Tag Team Champions going against the Dyad. Dyad and the Creeds are in a bit of feud as of late. Well, the match started with an instant from the jump as the Dyad tried to take down the Creeds. The Creeds more known for athleticism and technical prowess. That technical prowess and athleticism had to be in effect tonight. The Creeds, you can tell right here, Butch tried to use that splash, didn't go to effect as Julius was the one that tapped out, and we thought he was gonna tap out, but it wasn't no telling. And see fans right here a little bit concerned of what happened. The Creed brothers, I think Julius suffered an arm injury. That's why the Creeds lost. The Creeds lost, and now they're no longer coming to NXT. So the question my add is, what brand they're going to, Raw or SmackDown? I can see the Creed brothers on SmackDown. SmackDown needs more tag teams, and I think Raw is good, but who knows? But I seen them on SmackDown getting that boost. Probably on Raw. So it's pretty deadly on SmackDown team. So I say Raw, and then they'll go from there. So look for the Creeds coming to Monday nights soon rather than later. Well, Finn Balor, the former Universal Champion, the man who had an opportunity. Finn Balor didn't forget about what happened to him a couple weeks ago when they befriended Seth Rollins. He's far from finished from Seth Rollins on Raw. Well, I can see Finn Balor taking on Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo and Trick put out the answer that they want to take on the Judgment Day, and I think I can see Trick against Damian Priest, and I can see Carmelo against Finn or Dominic. But it's gonna be a lot to handle since the Judgment Day have problems of their own. I think Carmelo and Trick could be the ones to help out with Seth Rollins and make it even, making a 6-man tag, and that's what could be the possibility, a 6-man tag team match for them coming up. So we could see that possibility heading away, but we have to wait and see how that's going to play out eventually. Speaking of that, Braun Breaker answers what's next for him. Braun, the former NXT champions, who was on the verge of becoming world champion not too far soon. We know that Braun wants to be a world champion one bit. But for Braun, I say this: Braun wants to continue that momentum. Braun wants to stay the course, and I think that's one thing about Braun. He wants to stay the course on what's going on with him. I think with Braun, he can outlast and do what he needs to do. One thing about Braun Breaker is he's more like his uncle in a way. And Braun Breaker wants to get some benefits and reap the benefits as well. As you tell Braun kind of we have to wait and see what Braun wants to do. But Braun got confronted by Eno Dragunov and Braun confronting each other, and that could be a possibility. They was beating the hell out of each other. These two men want to beat each other to death, so let them do it. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a match between them at the Great American Bash between them, so they can bash each other's brains out at the bash. So we'll wait and see how that's going to flow down. All right, that ends the NXT Ring Report. We're going to leave you with, I guess, Braun. We're going to leave you with the Creeds losing tonight. The Creeds no longer part of the NXT roster no more. They're going to be joining what the Raw or SmackDown. I think the Raw roster, and you can tell right in between them, the person in the pink hoodie could be a new member of Schism. So, hey, only time will tell on that. Thank you all for watching this edition of the NXT Ring Report. We'll see you tomorrow for the AEW Dynamite Ring Report and with the latest on the AEW Dynamite. For me being Kendrick Dick saying so long and thank you for watching the Pro Wrestling Show NXT Ring Report. See you later.